What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Cryptid Warfare and Conspiracies. And this is your second host of the most, Z Baby.
What's going on, guys? This is your Beaner, Drewski. Hey guys, I just wanted to say, hey guys, thanks for coming out and listening to us, and appreciate you guys stopping by. I want to give a holla out to Larry. Larry's a hardcore fan with everybody, dude. Yours,
Larry's
Kevin,
the man, dude.
Ours, like Vicky, Amanda, dude. He's on it. Even David, dude, like he's ordering merch. He's good to go, man. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah, guys, we have a special guy on the podcast tonight. His name is El Kevininsky, aka Kevin D's Nut. No, I'm just Kevin.
Okay.
Hey guys, okay, so basically, okay, if you guys listen to any other podcast, guys, he's got a killer podcast. It's called Where the Weird Ones Are. So you guys know him, I know him, we love him, you love him. I asked him for a bio, but I'm just gonna throw it all together right now. Here we go. Okay, so Kevin likes long watch on the Appalachian Mountains, hunting for Wendigo, and his dog Zip. No, I'm just joking. Anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, Kevin's got a killer podcast. If you guys haven't subscribed to it or follow it, go do it right now. It's called Where the Weird Ones Are.
Yeah, and do it right now.
Right now. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You guys are missing out. So, other than that, guys. As Zick says, we got a juicy podcast tonight. Kevin, thanks for coming on, dog.
Thanks for having me, man. That was a fantastic intro. And so
we worked years on it.
Proud of you, Mr. Gaylord.
Mr. Gaylord Fokker. I know, right?
Gaylord Martha Fokker.
It was funny, man. Love that stuff.
But if you don't follow my podcast, for anybody listening, then you're probably gonna be haunted by demons, just so you know. So you have to listen now.
Yeah, you have no other choice, folks.
You do. And if you guys are haunted by demons, hit me and Zook up. We know how to extract those things. So
yeah, let's do it.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Words.
Supply and demand, my friend. Supply and demand. All right, man. Well, hey, let's go ahead and just kick this off, dude. I got some punch notes you gave me, so I tell you what. Let me just ask you real quick. Let's get this going, okay? I want to know what got you into cryptids first off.
Into cryptids?
Yeah. Oh, just into the whole thing. Where did it get you to where you're at today? Where did it start?
All right. Well, so I have a shit ton of I've seen some shit when I was a kid. The majority of my life, really, to present day, to like right now, like the last thing that happened to me was like 2 weeks ago. So, and then I think it was like 2020 when, you know, everything was locked down or whatever. I used to think fucking podcasts were so fucking stupid. I was like, who the fuck wants to sit here and listen to people just talk to each other for an hour or two? I was like, that sounds so stupid. And then I started listening to podcasts. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like, I was learning stuff. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and then I got into a conspiracy podcast, and then this conspiracy podcast had somebody who does paranormal shit on, which you're good friends with him.
Tony Merkel.
Yeah. And then I started listening to his show, and I was like, you know what? I really want, because I like the paranormal stuff, like the ghosts and all that shit. Yeah. And I was like, I really love talking to people like that about this stuff, just because I experienced so much. And in listening to his show, I started realizing that I think I encountered cryptids too. I was like, this is fucking weird. I was like, maybe that's what I saw. And then my friend, a good friend of mine, has a podcast. He's not doing it anymore. But I was on his show like twice. And then I texted him when I just had this epiphany. I'm literally listening to the confessionals, and I was just like, I want to do this. I'm going to start doing this. So I text him, and I'm like, I'm going to start doing this. He's like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, you should do it. What are you going to name it? I was like, I don't fucking know. And it took me like 2 or 3 weeks before I settled on Where the Weird Ones Are, which from what I hear from the feedback that I get from people that are not only on, but people that I encounter throughout my personal life too, are like, that's a good name. So I made the logo myself. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, and then the cryptids that I just started looking, especially guests that I've had on that had cryptid encounters. I just started looking more into cryptids, and like the cryptid world just fascinates me so much because there's so many stories, and there's so many stories from different parts of the world that are so similar. So I think there's something to it, you know what I mean? And I think they're out there.
Almost
sure.
definitely, man. Most definitely, dude.
And what are your thoughts? I just kind of had this idea, like, about where do you think cryptids come from?
That's a question.
Yeah, it is because
Well, and like I kind of have like a thought that I want to throw out, and it makes so much sense to me.
okay.
Well, other than other things, but
Well, I get down with like the interdimensional thing. Like I think like timelines and shit are constantly like crossing and shit. And I don't know. I've seen Bob Barker die 3 fucking times, so that's kind of weird.
Bob Barker. That's right, because
You know
he
what I
just
mean?
recently
it was in a few
died
days, a couple of days ago.
again. I was like, because I read that in the paper and the tabloids and stuff and on the internet. I was like, but that dude already died.
How does this happen?
So did I. I was like, what is happening right now? Am I on a different timeline? Like, what the fuck?
Okay, get this crap. Okay, I was reading this. I was reading this online, and me and a couple buddies at work were talking about it. They said that after 2012, we went through like a time slip, right? It's like another alternate dimension, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's why the years seem like they're just going like so fast and everything. And I don't know. I just thought it was pretty interesting. Anyways, go ahead.
I wonder if that too. It seems like time is speeding up.
It does.
Really weird.
It really does.
Yeah, man. Because we're about 3-4 months away from New Year's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
I feel
gosh.
I feel like I have less time in the day than I used to for some reason.
Yeah.
And I feel so much more tired lately too.
It's because we're getting old.
Well, that's true. That's true. You're not wrong there.
Well, we need to eventually like do a show on well, for one, was it the Ugandan calendar? Am I close?
Talking about the Aztec calendar?
No, it's where they have is it 13 months in the year?
Oh,
And right now
I
it's
know
like
what you're talking
2017. Because if you look that up, it literally makes sense. And the powers that like
Well, also
that
too, like
be
the
with,
clock, instead of 12 hours, it'd be 13.
yeah, and it's wild because it's literally used from elites and all these others just to throw our body's frequency off. And dude, you can see what's happening, man.
yeah.
Like it's so weird, man. Before like all this crazy tech.
January and February were made up months too, by the way. Like
Educate me.
October is supposed to be the 8th month. Octagon, 8 sides.
That's right.
And November is like the NOV is like
That's right, because when you think about it, April's the new year basically.
Yeah,
it's a spring. You know it. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because 8 months from April is October.
Yeah. So and then deck means 10. So
dang, you just blew my mind, Kevin.
Yeah, and then fucking now
how old I am.
Yeah. You might be actually like 50 years old.
Oh, in dog ears.
Dog ears. Oh, that hurt.
Oh, perfect. So I'm just nothing but a dog.
But yeah, no, I heard that the thing about the months, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're like, oh, like January and February, just fucking months that they're like, oh, there's like the space that we need to fill up. Like those there. And that's how October, November, and December ended up at the end. So December should have been 10, and now it's the 12th. But, you know, sometimes I wish I was there when they were setting some things up so that I could be like, hey guys, this is what happened.
I know. Or like you're like that guy. What are those? What are you doing?
So what's the fucking theory that you had there?
Z baby.
Okay, so no, like what you were saying, I believe it has to do with time and that they are interdimensional because these same things happen to show up like everywhere,
Uh-huh.
everywhere. Well, pretty much except Antarctica. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
There's other things in Antarctica, dog.
Yeah, there's barely
Well, that's what I
anybody
was
in
thinking. It seems like
Antarctica.
yeah, I think because there aren't really like a lot of people. I know that there are bases.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much bases cost to build, but at this point, like, I don't even know if money really matters. Like, I know
Money's
that they
just
can
doesn't.
come up with it to pay people,
just
but then
paper,
they can
bro.
just, like, yeah, it's just so weird to me, man. Like, anyway, but that's also what oh well, I'll tell you off the show. But what is it? Blackwater? Yeah. Whenever we can interview those guys, and then those are some people I want to interview too.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
I don't know. It's
Anyway.
just really fascinating out there.
It is. It is. I would love to go out there sometime if my wallet can afford it.
Oh man, dude, I saw
'Cause
that.
it takes some coin. It takes some coin to get out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy. I was looking up some of that stuff. There's like, oh god, there's like certain zones, right?
Yeah.
Before you even get to Antarctica, they have like naval battleships there that turn
Oh
you around. And
yeah.
then if you get the clearance and you go there, and then you go with like an icebreaker naval or Coast Guard ship,
Yep.
and then you get past that, it's like the 9th zone or something like that, and then you finally hit land, and you got all these merchant marines and all this global military unity that's right there, and then yeah, you basically got to be a 1%er or something, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was a story that I heard from a researcher that was saying that he's like, freaking, if you don't have clearances, you can't get out there. There's military out there turning ships around. There's even when you're doing the research, like you can't go very far from the base, not only because it's cold, but you go anywhere off too far off the zone, they'll just all of a sudden be a soldier somewhere, and they're like, you got to turn around. Yeah, which is weird.
That is really odd. I'm like, man, if it's a place dedicated to peace and research, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, and honestly, who would really want to go to Antarctica? Like, because
well,
for one, it costs so freaking much.
Admiral Byrd did, and you know what happened to that?
Yeah. Well, there's a story there that that whole section of his journal was fabricated because it doesn't match the rest of his handwriting from the rest of his journal.
Ooh, interesting.
Ew.
Well, I was watching this video, but I've seen several of these videos, and it was people trying to. I think they were using Google Maps, and they were actually trying to measure Antarctica, and it didn't. Like whenever they were done with the measurement, it automatically made like half of a circle, which I'm like, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
And then whenever they talked about like, I just say about like the global, I guess the Earth is a globe. Like it looks different if you look at satellite pictures. I guess back from the 90s up until recently, like the shapes the shapes and sizes of the continents change.
Yeah, they're all different colors.
Placement. I'm like, it's weird.
Well, you know, NASA uses a lot of CGI.
Yes, they do, because they didn't ever go to space, and they're not in space now.
No, and I mean, like even like Elon Musk said, it's going to take about 40 years to get to space.
Yeah,
with the technology we have. How does that work? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, hey, we supposedly went to the moon in this fucking tinfoil fucking made fucking thing. We were able to. You can't get cell phone service in a lot of places fucking here
but
to
you
this
can
day.
Get,
but you can fucking broadcast the landing on the fucking moon from the moon all the way back to Earth. So that's fucking stupid to me.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just blows my mind. And then they're like, NASA's like, oh, we destroyed the technology to go back to the fucking moon. What? Why?
We have like a portable laptop like in our pockets.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
And then they're like, oh, and then they start talking about Mars. I think they were just freaking, I don't know. The Universal was put in the globe in the beginning of their movies before we ever went to the moon too. So
Yep.
I saw that too.
Yep.
I'm like, that's so wild.
Oh yeah, I agree too. And also, it reminds me of Operation Fishbowl, man, when they're launching nukes into the atmosphere, trying to break through that firmament.
yeah, that's
Didn't
another
happen.
thing. I don't think nukes exist.
Mm.
I think that's
Ooh.
all a fabricated story to keep us all in a fear state, especially
Ah.
when we have tensions with other countries
Yeah.
that supposedly also have nukes. And so all these guys are like, and then all of a sudden North Korea's like, I have nukes too, and but America and Russia's like, no, you don't. And they're
Ooh.
like, yes, we do, but we can't say you don't because we know that if we say that nukes aren't real, then we have to say that we don't have nukes.
Yeah.
Like, I think like Hiroshima, I think it was like bombed by like an atomic bomb. Because they still live there. There's no like hint of radiation there anymore at all of any kind. So like I don't know. They like moved right back in right after it was bombed, and it was almost like it never happened now,
Yeah.
which is
What's
For
what?
weird.
sure.
Well, I wonder.
Especially that guy who was at the two different cities that got bombed, and he lived.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
a
heard
bad
that.
That's
day.
perfect
Yeah,
timing.
no shit.
That'd be a
Let's go to the
bad
moon,
day,
guys.
dude.
Oh wait,
That's like that guy that got struck by lightning twice.
I know, right? What did I
what are the
do?
odds? It's like, well, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to go mow again, and well, there's lightning.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah.
Well, then what is that? Is it in Russia? It's they have like old photos of like these kids and just tons of people wearing those weird looking gas masks.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Is it
talking
Russia?
about?
Like
Is it Russia?
now?
No, this was I think back in the 80s. Was it 80s?
Like for Chernobyl?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Chernobyl Diaries. Yeah,
Was that
that was
80s?
a good movie. When did
Um,
Chernobyl happen?
I can't. I think it was the 80s. No, or
Because
70s.
70? Okay. Like, yeah, because I remember like that there was that like I wonder if that whole thing could have been fabricated to an extent,
Yeah,
just
there's
to kind of clear that area for a specific reason.
there's I just heard something about it not too long ago that they were bombed, that like that it wasn't like a chemical spill or anything like that, and supposedly there's reports from Russia saying that Chernobyl's like fine, but I mean obviously I don't know that. I haven't been there, I haven't done the
Hmm.
research, so I can't this is all just speculation and like hearsay, so
Hmm. Okay, I gotta call Boris down there. Hey, Dudaski, those Dudaski. Oh man. Okay, so going back to what Zook asked about the cryptids, you answered that. Before we get off track, because I know we can go on rabbit trails.
Oh,
We really
dude,
could, man.
it goes like you go in this direction, you can go in this direction, then you go down, and then you can go deeper, and it just
That's
goes
what she said.
forever. So,
Yeah. So,
So you're gonna sit like a night in Vegas,
ching
yeah.
ching, name of your sex tape.
Oops.
Cha-ching. All right. So okay. So all right. So I'm gonna go back to the things you sent me. Okay. So all right. Well, let's go straight into it. So you said that the one thing you wanted to talk about is mental health.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
So, I've struggled throughout my entire life with mental health, and if I can help anybody with that, then cool. Like, so I had it. Can't say that I had a terrible childhood, but it wasn't like the best, right? And my parents divorced when I was super young. I didn't really understand what was going on. My sister was uh, pretty much in the same boat as me, and I think that's why we are so close to today. And I was about 9 years old, and my mother was pretty abusive. I barely ever saw my dad, um, and so I tried to take my own life, and um, I told everybody that I fell out of the tree because I didn't do it good enough. It wasn't like and it wasn't the best freaking blade either. And I have this huge ass scar on my forearm now because of it. And it used to be like super white. It's actually starting to blend in now, where I have a hard time finding it now. But it's about an inch long, and it's
Yeah.
straight across like a really like big vein. And but I don't think my mother ever like it ever clicked in her head. Mainly because I never really felt like my mother cared about me enough to really care. Um, but my doctor, I remember being at my doctor's, and he's like looking at it, and he's like, "This came from a tree." I was like, "Yeah." He's like,
Yes.
he's just like made this
Yeah.
eye contact with me, and he goes, "Can you do me a favor and stay out of this tree?" And like, I was just like, "Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I can." Um, so yeah, so like telling that, I've told that story a few times, mainly because like to basically like relate with anybody who's ever felt that like things are always going to get better. You're always going to go through dark day. You're going to have dark days there, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You may not always be able to see that light, but things always get better in some sort of way, and you just got to find your purpose essentially. I tried a second time when I was 13, so I tried once when I was 9, and I tried again at 13. Um, and when I did it when I was 13, I did it with a bunch of pills and shit that I didn't even know what the fuck. Turns out one of the pills was like a stool softener. Um,
You
and
win.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I mixed a bunch of fucking pills together and I took them, and ended up being in the hospital for like the entire day with like stomach issues. And then then the doctor was like, wanted to change my diet and this and that, and I had to eat certain things for like a couple months. And the weird thing about this was like my doctor was like, you need to eat this stuff, and then my mom like literally that week she got me the stuff that I needed to eat, and then she stopped after the first week. And I
Yeah.
was supposed to be on this diet for like a couple months, and then it was just like, well, we don't care, kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, I'm right back to this. But I had recently told this. I haven't told this story on any other podcast or even on mine, but I had saved my brother's life,
Okay.
literally the winter before I did this. And we were out on the ice, and he was on a different side, and me and my other siblings were on another side. And my little brother was, God, he had to be like, I was 13, so he had to be like fucking 5 or 6. Yeah, he was really young. Um, but there was like this little bridge, and then there was the lake or river, and then there was a pond on the other side. And me and my stepbrother were trying to break the ice on the pond side because the pond is very still, so it's it got wicked thick. Where on the other side, the lake and the connecting river or whatever, it's like just flowing water, so it's a little bit thinner. But we didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden I just hear Kevin, and I turn, and my brother is fucking up to his fucking neck in the water, and we all start running. It was my stepbrother, and my stepsister, and my sister Tanya. Um, and my sister Tanya is fucking freaking out, crying. She doesn't know what to do. She's hysterical, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. And my stepsister's trying to console her, and then I'm trying to fucking reach for my brother. So I have my feet on the edge,
Yeah.
and we were like, I was trying to, because you on thin ice, you're supposed to spread out when you're trying to save someone,
Yeah.
and I didn't technically know that, but like I just assume, like it's just weird how it just like happened. So I'm like trying to reach out, and I'm laying across this ice, and I'm just barely missing him. And every time he kind of like comes out to try and grab my hand, he like falls in, and it's getting fucking scary at this point. And I was just like, and then I stood up, and I was like, well, maybe if I can, scoot out there a little bit further so that like because it laying down, if it breaks, I'm going face first into this ice fucking water. And so I decided I was gonna stand. So I'm inching out, and I can hear the ice breaking, and I was like, "Fuck it!" And I just like jumped from the shore as far as I could out and fell through the ice and grabbed my brother. Went underwater. I went under him, and then I came up and I grabbed him, and then I came out and I gave him a fucking piggyback ride all the way home, which was probably like a mile.
Yeah.
And I know a mile doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're on foot, it's pretty fucking far, especially after you were in a fucking ice water.
Cold. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was probably like 20-ish degrees out that day too.
Oof.
So I mean, maybe 30. But yeah, after that, so that happened, and then everybody's just like, "What the fuck are you doing out on the ice? You could have lost your brother." Blah 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 blah. What are you doing fucking out on the ice? Why are you out on the ice? Well, no, not like, "Hey, I'm glad you're okay."
Yeah.
Nothing like that. So,
And hey, good job on saving your brother.
thanks. I broke his arm too. So if that
Who cares?
there's a story there. So
So epic.
every time I tell
I
this,
love you, but
yeah.
arm mark.
The arm looks funny.
So like I'll be like I'll ask him to do something. I used to ask him to do stuff from when we used to be around each other a lot. I'd be like, "Hey, go get me iced tea," or I don't know, something like that. And he'd be like, "Why don't you get it yourself?" I was like, "I saved your life." And he goes, "Yeah, you also broke my arm." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. All right, I'll go get it." But yeah, no, I mean, I didn't break his arm on purpose though. Like we were fucking around, and I don't know, like I laid on my back, and he would sit on the bottom of my feet, and I would push up on my legs, and he'd go flying through the air, and we did it all the time. And then like just the one random time, he went into the air a little weird, and he put his arm out, and he broke his arm.
Snap. Okay, so was this before or after you saved him?
That was before actually.
Okay, so basically that cancels out then, because you saved him after that. So that whole breaking arm, that cancels out, dog.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah,
You're true. You got a point. You got a point.
You win.
Yeah.
But now, but let's say if you did break his arm after that, okay, yeah, the saving life kind of even.
Yeah, and it's I always looked out for him, you know. He was just I mean, he's my little brother, man. I always will. And I don't know, it kind of fucked with me that nobody was just like, I'm glad that you saved him or anything like that. You know, and I guess I got shit for it, and then yeah, so I tried a second time because I didn't feel important, you know.
Gotcha, man.
So
well, I'm letting you know, bro. You're a badass dude. I'm glad you saved him, man. So
thanks, man.
You did what you had to do, bro.
You're such a brother. That's awesome.
I'm gonna break your other arm now.
No, you're bigger man than me.
Okay.
So mental health is important, because if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love anybody else?
That's a fact, dude. Hurt people, man. You gotta worry about yourself first, and then that'll ooze out on the other people. You know, you're right, absolutely right.
For sure.
Yeah, glass can only spill what it contains.
Yeah, that's a fact. Amen to that, man. All right, man. Well, I appreciate that. For all you guys who need to talk, Kevin has the ear open, so he knows what's up, man. Appreciate it, dude. All right. You seen a full body apparition? What's that about?
Yeah. So this happened right after the first time I tried at 9 years old. So it was we were living with my grandparents, and my grandfather had this big tool shed, and then the swing set was right next to it. That's where I try to do it, because that's where like there's sharp things in my grandfather's shed. But anyways, I was sitting on this swing. It was probably like 2, maybe 3 weeks ago after the fact, and I was sitting on the swings. I was outside by myself, and all of a sudden I see something out of the corner of my eye. And I just turned, and there's this old dude sitting on the swing next to me, but he's like see-through. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he wasn't solid, and he didn't like his face was distorted, but I could tell that he was an old man. And my favorite part about this story is that he had something stringy in his hand. I couldn't tell what it was. From what I recall, he was either eating a bowl of noodles, or he was crocheting, like knitting or something like that. Like it was just stringy.
Okay.
It was either yarn or noodles. And
Guy
I'm
was eating
looking at him.
Guy was
and
eating a bowl of ramen.
Hungry, hungry ghost.
Yeah, nobody giving me top ramen. And he's like, we're looking at each other. I mean, even though like I can't tell he has eyes or anything, but he's like, his head's turned to me, and he's doing whatever he is with this noodles or yarn shit in his hand, and he goes, "Just be patient." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You'll know." And then I just like look down at the ground. I'm holding on to the chains of the swing, and like I'm in like this paralysis fear state where like I want to fucking bolt, but like I'm just staring at this one spot on the ground, and I can't fucking move, and I can't like get myself to turn my head because I don't want to look back at him because I'm so fucking scared. So I got wicked familiar with this one part on the ground, and like how the rocks were in the sand and shit, and I just stood there. It felt like hours, but it was probably only 5 minutes. And then I finally just slowly turned my head, and he was gone. And then I was like snapped out of it, and I was like, I got up and I went inside. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me, and the only thing that I can chalk that up to being is, with the self-harm and them like spirit trying to tell me, like maybe it was a spirit guide or something that was just made itself known to me. And I was just like, hey man, it's gonna get better. You just gotta give it time.
Yeah. That's I think that's amazing though when kind of like back on the subject on what you said, how you were just looking down at some rocks or the ground, and you like mentally took that picture and you ingrained it in your head, and that was just one thing you can just focus on, just to kind of keep your sanity without freaking out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like during like stressful situations, like it's kind of funny because along those same lines, we had a hostage situation going on, and when we went in, this dude had a knife to this woman's throat, and the other guy had a gun. And it's when I was in law enforcement. All I remember was focusing on the person, but also too, I'm looking over at this vent to the left of him, and it's blowing, and it looks like it has like tinsel on it, and I see it just doing that thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing that? Get back on target. Oh yeah. But that's the one thing I remember though. But like when you said the rocks and the ground and stuff, I'm like, I know exactly what you mean, dude. It's a trip, dude. It's a trip.
It is. It's fun. It's funny when we get into those like states, those mind states where there's something happening that's like really fucked up or fucking stressful, and we hyper focus on like a random thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was working at Wendy's when I was like 18, and
God, I love Wendy's.
Me too. It's my favorite out of them. It's still bad for you, but it's so tasty. And
Big Frosties and French fries.
Yeah. This guy comes in the back, so I'm getting ready to take the trash out. It's like midnight, and this guy comes in the back, and I just hear,
oh,
and I look up, and he has this fucking sawed-off shotgun pointed in my face, and I'm looking at him, and he goes, "Get the fuck in the freezer." And like I just like focused, like, so he had a bandana across, and I just like focused on like one of those little teardrops, and I'm just staring at that, and then I start smiling, and he goes and he goes this isn't a fucking joke, this is fucking real. And I was still smiling because I was like, I don't know why. And I kind of think that I thought it was a joke, like this was like a prank or something. And he grabbed me and he tried to shove me towards the freezer. And his mistake was fucking using his hand. So he had his gun like this and his other hand was off the gun. So as he's grabbing me, I'm like, hey, there's a gun. I grab the gun and fucking pull it out in front of me. And he's behind me and we're struggling.
Yeah.
And fucking this guy has like a death grip on this fucking gun. He does not want to let this fucking thing go. And I'm just like, come on, let the fucking thing go. And we fall out the back door that he came through into fucking snow banking. And I think his mask came off and then he ended up pulling against me. So I have it and I'm like trying to I'm pushing it. And I don't know if he was like a ninja or something, but all of a sudden there was a fucking knife to my throat. And he's like, let go of the fucking gun. And he fucking cut my fucking throat a little bit. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't let this fucking gun go. So I let it go and I got up and I went back in and there was a bunch of trash cans there because I was trying to take the trash out. So I was trying to compile it all into the bin so I could roll it all out. And so they're all on the ground and my manager is standing there and he's like this up against the wall. And I walk in and I was expecting the guy to be in behind me and I go and I look and I turn and the door's wide open and my manager is the closest person to the door and I'm like, shut the fucking door.
So did your manager see it happen?
Yeah, I don't know if he actually saw it at like the whole thing, but the one thing that fucking throws me off is the dishwasher. Okay. So the minute this guy grabbed me, I grabbed the gun, right? And he's trying to like pull the gun out of my hands. The dishwasher comes around the corner and stares at me. And this dude was fucking huge. If he would have came over and fucking did something, like we could have fucking fucked that guy up. Like if he would have came and grabbed that guy, I could have grabbed the gun. I would have beat the shit out of this guy's fucking head with the fucking stock of his shotgun. That's how pissed I was that that he even fucking touched me to begin with. But this kid fucking stared, and I go, "Help! This is for real," and he fucking runs away. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Fight or flight, man. Like, you chose to fight, you chose to run.
Yeah. I mean, I had the gun. Nothing was gonna happen, and all he had, dude. I was so pissed off.
Dude, I bet you had a come to Jesus meeting with him when you saw him again.
Dude, I thought he was in on it. That's what I was thinking.
Tupac and Biggie, I got you. Screw that. Oh, dude. That's a trip, though, man. I would have been like, I'm at crossroads, man. Let go of the gun or I'm going to kill you. You're going to kill me anyway. This shotgun if I let it
go. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But he did have, if I let go of I let go of the shotgun and he fucking bolted the other way. And, but he came back, just as my manager was shutting the door and put his gun back in. And then I just, I stood there and I was just like, well, I'm a little bit too far to approach you now without getting shot. So
man, that's
he made off with 1,600.
Damn. Did you guys have any cameras in the back?
No, not that I remember. But I remember the fucking owner just being like, I came in the next day. He's like, "You all right?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That could have been a lot worse." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Really, where were you?
What a nice guy. That was the nicest thing anybody's ever fucking said to me. I just.
So how long did you work there?
I worked after, not very long. I was at the time I was doing cage fighting too, so I thought I was gonna go into the UFC.
Oh dang!
So I was just like, I just stopped showing up, probably a month later, maybe 2 months.
No, it comes together. You look like Khabib, bro.
What?
You look like Khabib, kind of.
Khabib? I don't even know who that is.
UFC fighter.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
I was like, there ain't no way, dude. There ain't no freaking way.
Yeah, so my ex-wife ended up pregnant with my son, and I was just like, well, I'm not gonna let my family live in squander while I try and pursue this, because it takes a while before
Uh-huh.
you start making bank at that. So when I was just like, who knows, maybe I could end up being fucked up too before I ever even make it. So I was just like, oh, I'll just go get a real job, and then I started doing tree work. And then one of the guys that I was working with was like, "You look like fucking Shogun."
There
I
you
was
go.
like,
That's
"What?"
good. Shogun. Yeah.
He's like, Maurice Shogun Hua? I was like, I know who that is. He's like, you look exactly like him. I was like, no, the fuck I don't.
Did you have like the cauliflowers and stuff still?
No, I
Oh,
never,
okay.
I never got that.
I gotcha.
Luckily,
Oh, the luckily, yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Lucky for you.
I take it you're more of like a not a ground and pound, but a stand up fighter.
I am a stand-up fighter. Yeah,
Okay, I figured. Yes, you said you didn't have any cauliflower. I was like, okay, you're not. You don't really take it to the ground. Gotcha.
yeah. I try to stay off the ground,
Yeah.
and being amateur, like none of the guys like really tried to go there.
Oh, do jujitsu and
So
stuff. Gotcha.
yeah. So a few of them. Well, so I ended up being 3-1 in the as an amateur before I was just like, fuck this. I wasn't really making anything. And then, to pay the trainers and all this shit. um so some of them it would end up there probably like in the second round, but a lot of them would um just because like a normal fight kind of thing, everybody always tries to stand up, but my thing was I need to stay up because once I'm on my back, I'm like a fucking turtle. And it's almost like I don't know what to do. Like I know what to do, like I just can't seem to like apply it well enough.
Yeah.
So like I had to stand up, and a lot of like the three fights that I won, all three of them, they were like, well, I don't want to fucking stand up anymore after the first round because there was a couple of them that I almost knocked out.
Yeah.
And then the second round, they were like, let's take this to the ground. And then so I won. Two of them was split decision in my favor. And then one of them, I knocked him out. So he was trying to fucking take me down. And he shot on me. Like as he's
Yeah.
coming in, I uppercutted him and he fucking just continued going to the ground. And then he was fucking out cold. I was like, yeah.
You
That's good for the highlight reel.
Attaboy.
Because no cameras
ran
around.
into your fist. That is awesome.
Pretty
Where's the cell phones at?
We had the flip phones back then, so
Oh, good old cricket. And
Oh,
Verizon.
yeah. Classics.
but I fought this huge black guy in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
and I was like, I walk because I didn't know who it was. And that's another thing that they don't really tell you about the amateur league is that you don't really get to know who your opponent is all that well. Like, because everybody's unknown.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I was 205, so light heavy. And this guy comes walking in, and I swear to God, he was like a fucking silverback gorilla, dude. This fucking dude was humongous.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this guy's 205, and they're like, yeah, he weighed in at 205.
Yeah. Well, his crap does.
I was like, this guy's fucking gonna murder me. But I stood in there with him, and he was scary looking too. Like he was fucking scary. He was taller than me, but I think he was just like extremely lean.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he was a good fight. He was probably the best fight I've ever had in my entire life, and that includes like the stupid little street fights.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, there was one time that he hit me in the temple, and it was just like, I'm going out. But
it's kind of funny when you get hit like that. It's like your body just kind of like your leg. You don't even have any control. It just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens. You just like, oh, there goes my legs.
It's like going to sleep, but you were standing at the time.
Yeah, it's seriously, you get like sleep paralysis, but you're awake as you're standing up.
Dang body.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, they're taking me.
Much.
Oh man, that's cool, bro. Well, that's man. You sound like you had a pretty awesome, like just up and down, like crazy,
yeah, well,
life so far, man.
yeah,
Cool
I mean, I got into the amateur league based off of my my middle school and high school experience, because I spent so much of my life being fucking angry all the time and I just wanted to hurt somebody. So that's what I did through high school. Like anybody that fucking, it was just like could be the littlest thing. I was fucking just usually it was just like they say something fucking stupid and I was already swinging.
Yeah.
So like I was just always wanted to fucking hurt somebody all the time, and I've calmed down quite a bit now. I try to not be in confrontation. I mostly try and talk my way out of it now.
Yeah.
Mainly because I know what I'm capable of. So not to like try be like, oh, I'm fucking like super tough or something like that, but just I know how to fight and I was trained to fight. So, and not knowing that I mean, these people that I'm talking my way out of, they could be fucking like black belts or some bullshit, you know what I mean? And fucking knock me out or fucking put me in an arm bar without me realizing what's happening and fucking break my arm or some shit like that. Yeah. I'm not saying like I can take anybody. I'm just saying like I know what I'm capable of against somebody that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. Well, that's basically how it is when someone's been at war, someone's been in fighting or whatnot. If they do it long enough, when they do come back to that again, they're just going to take, like, hey, like, let's just not do this, because they know the repercussions of it. They've been through it. They know what's up.
Yeah, and people can die from fist fights.
Yeah, heck yeah.
It happens all the time, and then you're in jail for murder, technically.
Exactly. You hit someone with the good right cross, and their head hits the concrete.
Yeah,
they're dead. That's it. It's over.
Exactly, and then you ruined your life and their life. You don't their loved ones and all that just because of a fucking disagreement.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I got you on that. All right, so that full body apparition, shadow people your entire life.
Yes. So I was like 5 years old, I think. This was my very first like ever experience of any kind. So we were living in Vermont in this trailer, and my sister was like, "There's a witch outside my window," and my mom was like, "No, there isn't." And I remember my dad going in and being like, trying to console her, and he's like, I'm gonna call Wonder Woman, and she's gonna come here and protect the house, and I'm gonna call Bugs Bunny and Tasmanian Devil. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's just like doing what, just trying to like make her feel better. She's like 3 or 4 at the time. Gotcha. And I was just like, fucking witch outside the window. So I end up walking as I'm walking by her, I was just like, man, she's crazy. And I get to the doorway of my room, and all of a sudden these 2 shadow figures just go fly by my window. And I know it's a trailer, but we were like on like some kind of foundation where this trailer sits higher than normal. So like if you're a full grown adult, you're not like face level with our windows. Like you have to be like up a little bit. And I see these 2 figures, and the only thing, like the best way that I can describe it, it was like they were just like these 2 witches flying around the house going hee, you know what I mean? Like fucking just and I was just like, oh shit. And I went back to my living room and sat on the couch, and I remember my dad coming out and being like, what the hell? Get to bed. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't tell him about it, but me and my sister ended up talking about it later on.
Yeah.
And then so that like nothing happened. That was it. I just saw those 2 fucking figures, and it was done with. But it was fucking pitch black outside, but I could still see them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's the age old story. Fucking, they're darker than the darkness.
Yeah.
So, and then when I was living with my grandparents, right after, you know, I tried to take my own life, so everything was like amplified. You know, like when you're in that state. So it was that full body apparition was the first thing, and then every day, I would get home from school. There would be a shadow figure in the basement.
Yeah.
Either when I'm walking by, if the door was open, I would see them standing on the stairs. But my older brother's bedroom was downstairs, and for whatever reason, my mother dubbed his room to be the designated video game room. So to play N64, I had to go into this basement every day and encounter these fucking shadow figures. And they never did anything or anything like that, but they still scared me.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'd be leaned like looking like shoulders crossed, leaned up against the lolly column, or they'd be standing in the a corner, or they'd be under the stairs.
Basically just checking you out.
Yeah, just watching. And so
Ugh.
I'd come down the stairs, and I'd like sometimes I would go like this as I walked to my brother's room, because my brother's room was probably like 8 to 10 feet from
Yeah.
the stair, and you just go in there, and then his room was finished, but the rest of the basement wasn't.
Gotcha.
So and it was funny too when my grandfather would send me down there to the unfinished part, which is where I saw these things. I would the lights would be on, and before I would ever see them, I'd kind of close my eyes at first, and then I would start singing, and I'd be like, "Don't hurt me, please."
Trying to
Your next hit single.
serenade them.
Yeah, trying to serenade them with love or something. I don't fucking know. Like, I was like, if they are serenaded, they will be like, oh.
What if they just started like dancing?
Oh
Like,
my god!
like a creepy
Imagine
kind of
that.
dancing, like like right towards you.
Yeah, and I was just like, I always just thought if I sang, they wouldn't fucking touch me. So
Put good vibes out. There you go.
yeah, I was just like, I'm just trying to get this from my grandfather. Don't hurt me.
Oh, here he comes again.
Hey,
Chris, down here in the basement.
You want to see my Purple Heart? Just offer him a few popsicles.
Okay, so question. So this is your older brother's room. Would he ever see these things?
I don't know. I don't know. I never said anything to him. I only talked to my sister about this stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
And in that same house too, my sister. My sister uses this story to say that I would most likely survive a horror movie. So we're getting ready for school one day, and we're walking down the hall, and I'm behind her, and she sees this black mass. I didn't see it, but she sees this black mass go from the kitchen into the living room, and she dropped her backpack and screamed, turned and ran, and I was just like, what, and I dropped my shit and I followed her, and my mom's like, what the hell's happening? She's like, I saw this, blah 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 blah, and fucking my mom's looks at me and goes, what'd she see? And I was like, I don't know, she screamed and ran, so I did.
Yeah, there you
go. But yeah, so she's like, every time she tells that story, she's like, Kevin would survive a horror movie because he didn't ask questions, he just fucking runs. So
he didn't stick around, he's out. Smart, man.
So yeah, no, and then and then as far as the like my brother, my sister said that, you know, that he has seen some stuff, that she's talked to him about it, but my brother and I used to be pretty close. We're not anymore. We haven't been for a while.
Gotcha.
I actually just saw him today, and the only thing I said to him was that he was funny looking as we walked by. I was like, hey, my son said that you're funny looking. He goes, yeah, it runs in the family. And then I just continued walking. That was it. You know?
Yeah, I gotcha.
I mean, I love him because he's my brother, but there's things that transpired that I just It's like, you know what, this is not a person I want to associate with.
I gotcha.
And my mother too. My mother was one of those people that I kind of cut ties with too. She still tries to reach out.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. I just
Mhm.
don't have time for I guess like negativity, which
Yeah.
there always seems to be some kind with either one of them. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know, fuck this. That's not good for my spirit.
Yeah,
Stay
exactly.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for my experience of the shadow figures, it was every day in that house, in my grandparents' house, and I still see that. I bought this house 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and I see them all the time in my upstairs hallway. Just they're never in my room, but I can see they're always in a different spot. Sometimes I can only see like half their head or something, or sometimes they're peeking like this.
God, I get freaking goosebumps.
Yeah, and then I had Farrah on my podcast, and she like did this like pendulum thing, and her pendulum told her that it was negative, and that it was not a good thing for me. So like just because I've experienced them through my whole entire life, like I've seen them outside in random places sometimes too, like throughout my entire life. And it just like after my grandparents' house of every day going downstairs to play video games and seeing them, and then you know, and that was years of every day. It just like kind of numbed me to it. So when I was seeing them in the hallway upstairs in this house, like I just didn't care. I was just like, oh hey, what's up?
Yeah, just do your thing.
And so Farrah said that they seem to be negative. So like I did like this sage cleansing or whatever. And I hadn't seen them since. So I haven't told the story in depth yet. I've kind of touched on it on my show so far, but I haven't really gone into like details. So this girl that I'm seeing had stayed over one night, or no, she was here one night, like, and this was like weeks ago, maybe like a month ago. It might have been July, and she's like, she left, and I went to bed, and I'm sleeping, and I just hear Kevin, and I like opened my eyes, and this fucking shadow, and it looked like it had long hair, like it was her. So I thought it was her at first. And then all of a sudden I was in that fucking fear state and paralysis where I couldn't fucking move. And it was like to like visually show you it's going like this, coming towards me.
Oh
like
gosh, no.
like,
Oh, dude.
And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh, and I'm fucking like my chest is pounding, and like the way that I was laying, my arms were out. My arms had already gone out to like when I woke up to see this. And I'm like, am I dreaming? And fucking my phone is right there on the charger. And I'm just like, and I can move my fingers, but I couldn't move the rest of my body. And this thing is just coming towards my bed. And just fucking,
I would have said, Siri, play Thriller.
And then I like willed myself so hard to fucking grab my phone, and I fucking turned my light on, and there was nothing there, and I was just like, holy fuck.
Dude, like that choppy move though, how they move like
Dude,
that, like contorted.
That's one thing, man.
Yeah, I've never seen a shadow person move, period. So
I haven't heard of them move like that either. I don't know what that is.
I'm thinking that either I was like half dreaming or something, but it's definitely, I think it's definitely something pretending to be a shadow person. That's what I think. I haven't seen it since that one time, but it was really weird. I heard my name and I thought she was coming back to my house.
Yeah.
And I just opened my eyes. I'm like, yeah. And then I just see this.
Whatever it was trying to probably heard her call your name, trying to mimic, you know?
Yeah.
But that walking like that, oh man.
Dude, that was
did that. So she did that. I'm like,
Yeah, I kind of wanted to scream, but I couldn't even move. You know what I mean? So, it was, oh my god, that was by far well, no, it wasn't the freak. It was maybe the second. It's equally, I should say, it was as far as fear state. It was equal. I have two experiences. I have another experience that was equally as scary as that. So.
And it is so wild, like, because I looked into it, but also through talking to other people that sometimes, like in children, when they are going through a difficult time, it's like the atmosphere that is created is almost like a lure to these like spirits because they feed off of fear.
Mm,
Not always, but a lot of them are like drawn to that, and then they'll kind of they'll almost latch themselves to you, kind of like a parasite, as long as you have that trauma. It's really really weird. Um, and two, I don't know, there's something also with mirrors. So I don't know if there were like specific mirrors that you've had in your family for generations, or if there was something like a charged item.
Charged
Um,
object, yeah.
yeah, and because some of this stuff, I mean,
Yeah, it does
I,
make sense. Yeah. Do you have any yeah, like Zook was getting on, do you have any like relics or anything you have from your family from years past?
I do not. Well, actually, I have stuff from my uncle that has passed. That passed away a few years ago. Both my kids have one of his mattresses. So and then they have my son has a couple of his things. I have I have a bunch of like movies and like small things that came from him.
I
So
got you, man. Have your have your boys or your kids said if they seen anything around the house or anything like that?
my daughter says that she has seen shadow people in the hallway, and but she doesn't seem to be afraid of it.
Yeah.
My son says he hasn't seen anything, but my daughter says that she has. And um, she only told me this after I was on Tommy's podcast, where I was talking about shadow figures, and she happened to be like walk into the room as I'm talking about this house specifically, and she just like stopped and stared at me. And she like was like, "What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? And then it was like 2 weeks after that, she told me that she's seeing shadow people. So I don't know if she's just like, um, ma- not like making it up, but like I don't know, trying to like relate to me or something.
Yeah.
You know what I
mhm.
mean?
I got you.
So I'm not 100% sure if the kids are seeing anything.
Yeah. I got you, man. Wow. I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah, dude, that fucking that is what made it creepy. Like if it was just even I don't know if just walking regularly would have freaked me out as much, but it would just
people
like
people don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. I'm gonna say it. The shadow person special ed.
yeah, pretty much. Like,
What
there's
is like?
something wrong with
It
my
did the
leg.
same.
I got
I'm
cerebral
just like,
palsy.
Hey, you guys.
you're like, dude.
Dude,
So what if
this
you
one's
saw
got a
it was like
gift.
You know,
Yeah.
there's this
a
guy,
shadow
there's this kid
person,
that
but they had tongues? He's walking to you like this.
there's this Irish kid that I went to high school with, and turns out he's just autistic.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right, let's go. All right, let's tap on. Speaking of Irish, let's tap onto the. You came across some mushroom people in the woods, dog.
Bro, so I did regression therapy,
Yep.
mainly for like the mental health
Okay.
aspect of it. I was trying to remember some things from my past, which turns out one thing that came out of it was a memory of my mother choking me, so that was fun.
Oh man.
Anyways, so this happened to me and my sister, but my sister doesn't recall it. But I don't even remember my sister even like. All right, so I'll just tell the story and then I'll. So we were getting ready to go somewhere. I used to wear glasses back then, um, and we were supposed to be going somewhere. My sister and I wanted to go outside, and my mom said that we had like a certain amount of time to go outside. So we go outside, and it's just like a light dusting of snow. And one thing that we used to like to play outside was pretend that tracks in the snow were like exotic fucking animals or like some kind of creatures that we had to like track. And I want to say it was like squirrel tracks, but we were pretending it was an alien. And we're following it, and we get down into this trail that we always go down, and there's like a little river, and it's well like a stream, like not a river, so it's like very small. And I used to like collect frog eggs and catch frogs and shit in this creek. And so we get to the creek, and all of a sudden it was like somebody threw a blue plastic thing over my eyes, and just like all of a sudden it was just like like that, and I just stopped, and there's like this little village of mushroom people, and they're like fucking like 2-3 inches tall, maybe. They look exactly like mushrooms. They don't have eyes or anything. They don't look like fucking Toad from Mario or anything like that. So they had like these little arms, but they're stems. They didn't have like separating legs or anything. It was just a stem, and they were it almost like if you had like a sack, like burlap sack. You know what I mean? And they're like stoking this fire in the middle of the village, and that's fucking. There's like houses going up alongside all these trees and stuff, and there's no snow. All of a sudden, as soon as like this it was basically like going through a portal. My sister was right next to me, and then she wasn't. And and then I get this tap on my head, and my glasses fall to the ground. And I feel this on my shoulder, and I kind of just turn my head, and there's this fucking mushroom on my shoulder, and I was never like scared of this whole entire thing. It was kind of like a euphoric feeling the entire time. And like he didn't speak to me, but it was like through my head, I guess, like telekinesis kind of shit.
Telepathic,
He's like, "Hey, you don't need those." I was like, "My glasses?" He's like, "Yeah." And then just as he said, "Yeah," it was just like back, and like I have my head turned like this, and then all of a sudden my sister's standing there, and he's not on my shoulder, and I was just like,
that's a trip, dude.
like the whole experience was like maybe 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
My sister staring at me, and I go, my glasses fell. I lost my glasses, and I couldn't see them. And she's like, where are they? And she's trying to help me look for them, and then she stepped on them, and you just hear, and I was just like, oh, and I flipped my shit.
Yes.
And like, because I was going to tell her the story that just happened. And then once she stepped on my glasses, I just was like, it was the end of the world. So I lost my mind and completely forgot. I mean, I wasn't mad at her. I was just like, oh my God, my glasses. And I ran home. I picked them up and I ran home. Told my mom. My mom's like, well, you got to go get reevaluated anyway. I'm not going to get you a new pair of glasses until then. Because just in case your like lenses change, your prescription changes. So it was a couple weeks later. So I had to deal with no glasses for a couple weeks, which if you need glasses, it kind of sucks.
Only very.
Yeah. So we got to the doctor's, and he's just like, you have 20/20 vision, man. You don't need glasses. So well, I guess, and I haven't had glasses ever since. So he was right. I don't need them.
Oh, dude, that's
cool,
wild.
man.
I wonder if he's like that mushroom creature is like related to like fake folk.
Yeah, that's what I
Not like fairies and stuff.
Yeah.
I know in Greek mythology they have like mushroom type creatures. I think like protectors of the woods or something like that, but or maybe protectors of your eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just it's a cool story to tell. I don't know if it was like a dream or if it really happened. I do know like the part of my sister me and my sister going out into the woods, my sister stepping on my glasses, and then my doctor being like, "Dude, your eyes are okay. You're like they're good, they're better."
That's cool, man.
I know that all happened,
Yeah.
but as far as the mushrooms, like sometimes I feel like it was just a dream, but you know
Well, dream or not, bro, something happened and your eyes are good now. So
that is true.
there's some
So
truth to that. You know what I mean? Something happened. So
yeah,
that's all there is to it, man. That's pretty. I like that. That's a good story. I like that, man. That's really
yeah.
cool.
It was interesting. I almost didn't want to start telling people that just
Yeah,
because like of how it sounds. Like it sounds super crazy.
I believe you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't dog anybody on there on things that happened to them. That's pretty cool. I'm never gonna look at mushrooms the same again though. Whenever
No.
I put it on my pizza,
No,
Well,
as you go to eat it, it's like, no, please.
it's like I'll put like sausage party.
yeah.
Oh God.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But mushrooms are like eating them is really good for your brain cells and your cognitive distances. So
Mushrooms are
dissonance.
good. I like
So
some good old sauteed mushrooms, man, with some steak. That's good.
Yeah, I want to look up.
yeah,
What was it?
same. Same
He
these.
was like a. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
He
No,
was
go
a
ahead.
like a fungi or fungi thing. Can't remember, but an expert, and Joe Rogan was just interviewing him on the podcast. And portobello mushrooms, that was the one. And the fella, he wouldn't even talk much about them. He said, honestly, if I was to tell you about the amazing benefits of them, and I'm just paraphrasing, then my life might be at stake. So he just
What?
skipped over portobello mushrooms. So I'm like, I want to look into portobello mushrooms.
Hmm. Well, what's funny
But
is remember that guy we interviewed, Greg Walters. He was like mushroom picking before he came on the
yeah,
podcast. He had got like these giant mushrooms. Some hippie out, and he's like a professor, but he's some hippie out in California,
and it was
like
way out
Northern
west.
California.
Yeah,
And this guy's like cool as hell, but that's why he was late to the podcast. Oh, sorry guys, I was picking these mushrooms.
no, dude, he was such a cool dude though.
He was
Like,
cool though. Yeah, I was like mushrooms, all right, and then it's starting to all make sense now. I
Oh,
like it.
that's
It's good.
hilarious.
and that'd be the time like mushroom picking, like when you actually see a squatch or a dogman.
Right? Oh, that's what he was talking about too when he went out mushroom picking. That's where he had like the majority of his encounters at for Sasquatch.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I think fucking Sasquatch eats like psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah, it's probably where you get your super nice ones, and then the ones you eat the bad ones. You get the rogue ones. Yeah,
That was disgusting. Destroy the world.
get down.
Get the chopper. Yeah.
My name is Detective John Kimball. I'm a cop, you idiot.
It's not a tumor.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I know, right? Oh man. Okay, now let's jump over to this. As an adult, you've seen a shape shifting koi dog, and possibly seen a dog man.
Yeah. All right. So I was living out in the woods. Both of these incidences happened in the same while I was living in the same house. And was on the first one. Um the I was coming home from work, broad daylight, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And this fucking coyote starts walking across the street, which is a koi dog for people that don't know. Um he just walks across the street and this fucking thing is huge. And I was like, holy fuck. And I stop. And he
How big
looks
we
at me
talking? How big we talking?
like wolf size, dude.
Okay.
Like I thought this was somebody's pet, but there was no collar, nothing.
Yeah.
He had the coyote colors, the brown and the sandy,
Mm-hmm.
like blondish color, tan or whatever. He looked exactly like a coyote, but the size of a wolf. And I was just like, holy shit. And I stop. And he turns his head. He stops right in the middle of the road, dead center, turns his head and looks at me. And I swear to God, we're fucking making eye contact. And I was just like, this is weird. And then he just nonchalantly fucking continues and he goes into the woods. And then I pull up right next to where he went into the woods and I'm watching him walk. And he just like stops and he turns around and looks at me. And I was just like, what the hell? And I swear to God again, we were making eye contact. And I was just like, is this somebody's dog? Like, do I need to fucking like try and go get him or something? And he's just like, looks at me. He's looking at me. And then it was almost like he was like, all right, you're going to see some shit. And there's like this, it goes up and there's this huge ass pine tree, dude. And like right on this other side of this little hump, it's like almost like a straight down kind of thing. Yeah. So like the way first of all, the way he approached this was like really like not doggish. And he like got to this hump and he put his paw up like to go over this. And he like his paw changed into a human hand.
Oh,
and, like went up against this tree and then he went over the hump like a human would and then fucking gone. And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't smoke any weed today. What was that? And then I just continued driving. I was like, maybe I'm just like imagining this. And I walked into the house and I was like, I went to my ex-wife and I was like, I just saw a fucking coyote in the road. And she's like, in broad daylight? I was like, yeah. Isn't that weird? She's like, that is really weird. And I go, you want to hear something even weirder? His fucking paw turned into a fucking hand. And she's like, shut the fuck up. I was like, I swear to God, I saw this. I was like, unless the fucking, like, the sunlight coming through the fucking woods was, like, playing mind games, you know, or something.
I wonder if you saw a skinwalker, bro.
That's what I, like, chalk it up to be, but I don't know. Like, it's, like, it was weird. Like, and I never saw this dog or coyote ever again.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the only thing. But I saw coyotes all the time, but I never saw a coyote that fucking big before in my life.
Yeah.
Like, he was fucking well fed.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And that was like fall of 2013, maybe. Like it was like September-ish. Like the leaves were starting to fall. So it was like end of September, maybe beginning of October.
Yeah.
So like there were still leaves on the trees, just not completely. And then into the summer of 2016. So this was after, this was after my ex-wife, but before, my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. So there was like this period of time where I was just by myself, and you know, I'm laying in bed. My dogs start freaking out, and I'm just like, fucking coyotes are in the yard. So I just get up and I look out my window and I see the coyotes and I see there's like, so just to explain, I had this really long driveway down to my house. And you can barely see the road.
Yeah.
You can't see any neighbors. So that was like the fucking best part of the whole entire fucking thing. But there was a farm to my left. If I'm like looking from outside, if I'm looking from inside my house to my driveway, there's a farm half a mile maybe to the side, but they have this huge ass field and it comes all the way up to my property, but there's like a tree line right there in between the field and my property. But if you know anything about like Maine, New Hampshire, or like New England in general, a lot of the especially Maine and New Hampshire, a lot of the properties are sectioned off by fucking rock walls, and like not just
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I think Vermont too. And it's weird because they're really big ass rocks.
Yeah.
So like if we go by the standard of like things were more primitive back in the day. You know what I mean? Like these rock walls had to have taken some fucking time to do.
Yeah.
And one of the rocks that was in this rock wall was maybe just a tiny bit taller than I am, and I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
So it might have been 6 feet tall. And it's just like it could have already been there and it wasn't moved there, and they just made this as part of the wall, but still kind of weird. Anyways, so there'll be some trees and then the rock wall and then some more trees.
Yeah.
But the moon was out and it was pretty bright, and I could see a little bit of the field, and I could see these coyotes going up and down the property line, the tree line in the field. And I was just like, and I look at my dogs, and I'm like, they're just fucking coyotes. Shut the fuck up. Let me go to sleep. And as I'm saying this fucking this coyote comes down my driveway towards my house, and I could see it. I could just barely make it out from the moonlight, and it looked like it was limping, and it was whimpering. I could hear the whimpering. I was like, that's fucking weird. So I turn on the outside light, and I could see it, and it's like approaching the house. It didn't get too close, but it was whimpering, and it was acting like it was injured. And I was just like, this is the fucking weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then because I'm at the door now, not in my bedroom at the window. I'm at the door because I had to turn the light on. And my dogs are fucking like going crazy. They want to get the fuck outside.
Yeah.
They're scratching at the door. And I'm just like, what? Like, it was the weirdest fucking thing, because the dogs are going crazy, and this fucking coyote is hurt and coming towards my house. And I was just like, well, maybe I should go out there and like see what's wrong with it. But
I'm wondering if that's what it was, why it was doing that.
Yeah. So
it's like baiting you out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a long story short. That is exactly what it was doing. And I ended up turning my head to see the rest of the pack, and I saw these fucking two red eyes right where that fucking big ass rock is, just above the rock. So me being 5'10", that rock being about 6 feet, it was another little bit above 6 feet, and it was just these two red eyes. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I stared at it for a little bit, and then I shut my light off. As I shut my light off, my dogs shut up, like randomly just stopped trying to get outside. And probably about 2 seconds after I shut the light off, I see the fucking coyote in the driveway stop and then just take off running up the driveway back to the road and join the pack. And I was just like, that bitch wasn't even fucking hurt. And then I look back over, and it almost looks like it's fucking whatever the fucking red eyes is on top of that rock now, that big ass boulder. So it's even fucking taller up. You know what I mean? And I was just like, holy shit. I was like, we're not fucking going out there. There's a fucking monster out there. And I fucking went, I grabbed my fucking gun. I sat on my fucking couch. I had my gun. I fucking put the fucking magazine in. I pulled the bolt action. I fucking put that fucking round right into the fucking barrel, ready to. So if I had to, if it came through a fucking window, I fucking pull. All I got to do is pull the trigger at this point. And my dogs both joined me on my couch, fucking, and they shut up. They weren't making any more noises. They weren't barking or anything.
Long night, man. Did you ever fall asleep?
I did. I ended up falling asleep, but there was a long time where I was just like super scared. So this is the other thing that I was telling you about that fucking scared the fuck out of me. And I was just like, I was sitting on the couch and I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. I held that fucking rifle so tight. My dogs were almost like knew what they were like, something was happening, and they were just like leaning up against me. And I don't know, it might have been the sun might have been coming up by the time I actually fell asleep, but I remember waking up like this. And I was like, my neck. But yeah, I never knew what that was until I started listening to podcasts and people talking about cryptids. And it kind of like falls in the line of like a Dogman.
Like seriously, that's what it sounds like, man. Like amber eyes, red eyes, tall, over 6 foot. Yeah, dude, seriously.
And accompanied by a pack of coyotes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Another thing that I hear that it is accompanied with. So This is
That's
fucking
a
wild.
trip, man. Dude, good thing you didn't go out there and check on that. Dang, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it too, but I know coyotes are also like they'll bite
Pack
you
animals too, yeah.
anyways. So like even if I was trying to help it, I probably would ended up getting bitten even if it was alone.
Yeah.
So like I was already kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to, and then I saw the red eyes. I was like, I'm definitely not
That's crazy.
gonna.
That's crazy, man. Dang.
So
Okay. Okay, so oh man. Yeah, what now? Hell no. Hell no. Zook.
Man, I really want to know what those eyes were, what they were attached to.
same,
Like I don't
dude.
know if I'll ever know now, but I mean, I know some Bigfoot. They give
They're more of like
well, I've heard
well,
that like red eyes, the bioluminescence, something,
Yeah,
and then Dogman, it's more of like an orange. But I think too, it just varies because I think
right.
there were so many freaking different types.
yeah, well talking Nick Valente, he's talking about oh god, because there's certain ones, right? You got your physical ones, then you got your interdimensional ones, and you got your spiritual ones, right?
Yeah.
So when you saw those four red eyes, right? Did you feel like kind of like a primal fear come over you?
Yeah, instantly.
Yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
minute
To me,
I
that's
noticed them
definitely
there,
a
dude, I
dog
was
man
just like,
for sure. Yeah. And okay, honestly, with the gun you had, did you feel it could have done any damage if they would have tried to come in?
it was a 308, so it would have been a pretty decent hole.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 308's good to start off with for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're saying that well, anytime we go dogman hunt or something, I need to up my game. They said, oh, Nick said that you need to get a 308 or bigger. Those are things
Oh,
that will put them down. So
all
you're
right.
good to go.
Yeah. Well, it
Damn,
never
this ain't
came into
good.
the house, so
Oh,
I didn't have to find out.
Yeah, that's good, man. Well, yeah, you're definitely that's smart though. Also having dogs with you too, because dogs can definitely pick up on things that we can't. They can sense
yeah,
things
the
we can't.
senses.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. The one of them I still have, so and
yeah.
she's the one that I am basing the comic off of. So and she's that T-shirt design. I don't know if you ever saw the Etsy, but
Mm,
she's she's one of the designs. So
Oh, nice.
that's bad. All right. Oh, catchy tone.
Ah,
All right. Now, since you did that, that's basically all the notes, dude. Let's talk about like that Specter moose, bro.
the Specter moose.
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
that. So real quick. So what's up with that? You're pretty hype on that. I was doing some
Yeah.
research on it too, like last night. This part is pretty crazy. I was reading through it. I get a lot of my information off of Cryptid Wiki.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? Yeah, I like
Yes.
that.
Yes, I have.
So I was reading up on the Spectre moose. This is pretty cool. It says the white moose from the state of Maine were known to pop up in towns before bad things happen, similar to Mothman. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that so it's interesting because it's been associated with like this like euphoric good like heartwarming feeling, and then it's also been associated with like gloom and doom,
Yeah,
you know. So like the one of the first encounters back in like the 1800s, it was like this I think it was late 1800s, but I can't remember exactly the exact year, but it was this dude Clarence
it was
Duffy,
1891.
1891, so very late 1800s.
Yeah,
It was Clarence Duffy, and he was like this hunting guide or whatever, and he was out there. He was taking he had a party out there, and he came across this the Specter moose. It was just this large fucking larger than the largest moose. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it was gigantic from what he was saying. And it was white. It was almost like glowing, like kind of I don't know. I think he described it as possibly I don't know, but he had this like he was overtaken, like he was enamored, like he was just like in awe of this fucking moose.
yeah.
He didn't take a shot at it, even though that's what they were out there to do was hunting. and he saw it, and he just had this euphoric feeling, like it was almost like he was seeing an angel or seeing God,
Yeah, it's like
essentially. You know what I
very
mean?
angelic. Yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up telling the story a little bit later, and people fucking ridiculed him for it and shit like that. And then I think like a year later, it was seen in New York. And this dude, or a guy from New York, saw it and started telling the
Yep.
story. And then people were like, okay, well, maybe this is true.
Yeah, because I was reading right here. It says, I guess like the following year, it said that is the sportsman in New York named Howard Van Ness was hunting. I guess they said reports said that he shot at the moose, and who
Yep.
described, I guess he was, it almost looked like a weighing at a ton, being bigger and taller than a camel. And I guess the antlers, he counted it, were over 22 points.
Yeah, the antlers themselves are like said to be these humongous fucking things. Like
Yeah.
they're almost like an entity themselves.
Yeah.
And there's this story of this hunting group like killed it and slit its throat to let its blood dry, like had it hanging and everything. And they came back and it was gone. And and then like later, like in the same night or the same day, this guy sees this big ass white moose with its fucking throat slit, dripping blood, and decided to shoot at it. And it charged him or something like that while he's shooting at it. And he dropped his gun and he ran inside. And then the moose picked up the gun with its mouth, shot at the house with the fucking gun.
There's some tongue action.
Yeah, dropped the gun and then ran off. And that was like, I think that was might have been the latest sighting. And I think that was like the 90s or the 80s.
Specter Moose was like, break yourself, fool.
Yeah.
With like a Specter gadget. I'm like, that's a pretty unique ability.
That's crazy, man.
I don't know what to put. I feel like that part of the story might have been I feel like it was definitely fabricated, that part. But I mean, obviously we know there's albino moose out there.
Yeah.
But like this massive fucking moose that is bigger than a fucking dump truck, or the size of a dump truck, fucking out there in the middle of the woods, is extremely interesting. And there's been sightings like 1,000 years now of this thing. So it's not as popular, like it's not sightings enough to make it super popular, but it's sightings enough to make it pretty interesting and intriguing. And I kind of want to make a documentary on it and investigate like the woods surrounding the forest around Lobster Lake and Moosehead Lake.
Yeah.
If anything, if I do it, if anything, it'll be like a documentary on moose.
There you go.
It would be great to see it just to see like capture a albino moose. Would it even be better for like something that could fall in the lines of Specter? But I don't really know. I had a gentleman on the show not too long ago. His episode hasn't come out yet, but he is going to school for videography. So by the time like if I do this, I would like to do it in September of 2024.
Yeah.
And he'll be done schooling, and he already has all the like video, like the cameras and all this stuff. He said he'd be interested in helping me out with that.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
So, and then I asked you guys if you wanted to. So.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm gonna have to get me a saw before that.
A saw.
Yeah. For those of you guys, it's basically it's a box fed machine gun. There you go. 7.62 round. There you go.
Yeah, no, and then I started diving on doing these like rabbit hole dives on moose and stuff. Did you know that orcas are a prominent predator of the moose?
No.
Well,
that's interesting.
prominent predator of them. Well,
I'm
to
like,
me,
how? Well, I
orcas
guess
are
yeah, they
like
have to swim between.
prominent predators and everything.
I know.
Seriously,
Man,
great
Free
white
Willy,
too.
man, is a joke. I would have
yeah,
ate that kid in real life.
yeah. Well, I actually just saw a video of these two fucking orcas swimming towards these two kids out in the ocean, and they just went right around the kids.
Oh
That's
wow.
crazy. Have you seen the one? I was watching some where it had like the sea lion or the seal on this
Yeah.
piece of ice, and they're swimming in this formation, and they're busting it, and all these chunks
Yeah,
up, and they
playing with
finally
it.
hit it. Yeah, and they finally got them off, and they just tore them up.
Well, there was recently. It was like several videos where these orcas are chasing boats and they're running into the boats like crazy. I think they capsized at
Oh
least one of
shit.
them.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean
Damn.
they were TikToks, but I mean like you can tell like these people were. I don't know. The people were weird. They're acting like it was funny. I mean, it was
It's
like
fine. No,
I'm like,
get
look,
go.
look. But
Hit
then
the
they're like, oh,
gas.
look, there's one. And then there'll be some other ones appearing and slamming into their yachts or their boats.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god.
weird.
Scrap that
That is
project.
weird.
I'll stay on
That's
land.
fucking so weird. But yeah, there's the moose don't have predators really all that much. There's not much that can take a moose down, but I always associated moose with like fucking swamps and lakes because that's always where I've seen them around, like in the mountains and shit. But apparently they do cross like they're actually like extremely good swimmers, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll dive like they can dive to up to 20 feet for like vegetation at the bottom of the ocean and stuff,
Oh wow,
and
I didn't know that.
that's how they fucking come across orcas, and that's usually like off the coast of northern Maine and Nova Scotia, crossing the Gulfs and shit like that. So
Dude, how crazy would it be like you just you see a moose in the woods and because it dove down so deep when it went up so fast to get air, it like stabbed an orca and it just like stayed on its antlers and it was just walking through the woods with a big whale on its head. That'd probably be like the third coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
it would be the uh, and the but moose they don't really have sharp antlers.
Oh, that would suck for the moose then.
Kind of dull.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
They don't really have like pointy points, like, you know what I mean?
Like deer and elk and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're more like a
Kind of
circular.
rounded.
Yeah.
Ceramic plates or something.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
But their fucking antlers get fucking huge too.
Did they
They're
fall
like,
off too, just like deer?
I think
I don't
I
know.
want to say they do, but
Because I would love to get one. I have
mm,
no idea where I'd put it because it'd probably be that size of my house, but still,
yeah.
I
Put
just
it,
want to have one.
hang it above your toilet.
I'm gonna,
yeah.
or I'll put it on the
Yeah.
front of my car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can do that.
Make my car more aerodynamic.
There you go.
You got to enter a raffle to hunt them in here in Maine too. Like you can't just
Oh,
openly
crap.
hunt them.
No,
How
you
many
can't just
people can
draw
hunt
for
them?
it.
I think it's 3 a year, 3 people. So there's
Wow.
only 3 tags a year.
That would suck too if you get that tag and then you don't see anything.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I waited 20 years for this moment.
And then you don't see anything, and then the next year your buddy like, oh, I just put in for it, and then he got one.
I
Yeah.
guess I'll go kill an orca. Oh.
I'm gonna call Peter on you.
Poor baby.
Yeah. All right, well, dude, that's all I got, man. That's about it. That's all I got. Zook, you got any questions?
No, I think that's all. I want to jump into this comic book though.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
All right. So my comic book is called The Chronicles of Weird Son and Rizzo and Weird Son. The Chronicles of Rizzo and Weird Son. So it's basically the main character is me technically. His last name's Weird Son instead of my last name. But Rizzo is my dog, and that's actually her name. But basically, we are missing person detectives where we go out whenever there's somebody missing and it's like really hard to find them. We go investigate and shit. To find them. And so
eat your heart out, David Politis.
And in this first book, the character encounters his first ever cryptid, and then from there it just spawns into other cryptid or monster hunting in general. So there's like it's not only just going to be cryptids, it's going to be monsters like classic monsters like vampires and shit like that too that will be encountered and stuff like that. And so the first comic, which is probably going to end up being is probably going to be a story that stretches out into like 3 books, just because comics are like 25 pages ish. And I definitely cannot tell the story that I want to tell within 25 pages.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So so yeah, it's gonna be a couple, but they're all connected, obviously, like any other comic book. It's a story that continuously goes, but like this first hunt is gonna be like 3 books. Or I might be able to do it in 2, but I think it would probably be like 3. But the first cryptid he encounters is a Wendigo, and Wendigo is popular here in Maine as well as a lot of other areas. And there's a lot of lore from like Native American tribes in the area that describe these things, and it's basically just a human that succumbs to cannibalism, being out in the wilderness, lost or whatever, with other people, and you run out of food, you don't know what to do, and then you resort to cannibalism, and then you get either possessed by the demon, or you just eating human flesh alters your state of mind. I mean, it does anyway.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
it's a study. There's studies done on because there's famous cannibals that we have the unfortunate pleasure to share this existence with, because there's actual cannibals that live to this day. We know there's stories on them. Some of them have become famous because they become serial killers. But so they end up, their bodies get grotesque and alter and stuff from the consumption of human flesh, and they basically just become something other than human. And that's what they do. They hunt humans, and it's usually in colder climates, and they have to stay cold all the time. But if it's warm out, you'll find them in caves usually. And that's a lot of the lore. So they're like, mine shafts and caves is a lot of these old stories from the Native American tribes in the area of where they're encountered. So that's basically the story. Is I'm looking at my character is looking for a missing child, and he encounters cave systems, and it's going to be the story is going to be based around Mount Katahdin here in Maine. And yeah, so we'll see how he goes about, see if he first of all see if he finds the child, see if he can kill, or if he gets killed. But if he gets killed, there won't be a series because he's the main character. But yeah, it's so yeah, see if he finds the kid, see if he finds out how to fight this cryptid, and so forth. And there's going to be other cryptids in the stories. There's going to be it's just going to be a long story, a long storyline, just a little, like, just different hunts and stuff like that as it goes and progresses.
Yeah.
So, and then I figured it was one of the best ways to immortalize my dog, because she's my best friend.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
That's the way to do it, man. That's one thing I'm pretty captivated on, is when it comes to cryptids and monsters and stuff like that, on how to kill them, what weapons to use, tactics, stuff like that. So I know with the Wendigo, like you said, it needs to be in cold environments or anything like that. So I was doing a lot of research on that and stuff, and like anything with like fire, like torches, flamethrowers, incendiary ammos, stuff like that. And then you ever heard of Dead Man Talking YouTube?
I have not.
Okay, well, this guy he gets Reddit emails and stories from supposedly supposedly critter and cryptid hunters, right? Breaks down on how to kill certain things. Well, with the Wendigo, I thought it was pretty interesting. You either got to use some type of high heat flame or something like that, and then once you do it, you've got to cut the head off, and you got to bury it somewhere else, kind of like a rattlesnake. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that was pretty interesting. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's a lot of the stories that I hear. You like to put a Wendigo down. It's the taking the head
off. Yeah.
And all of the stories that I've encountered. And I mean, I'm native myself. I'm part native. So
what are you?
I am Penobscot. It's a part of the Passamaquoddy, Abenaki, the Wabanaki Confederation, and our language is Abenaki. So,
well, that's cool because I'm part Ute.
Yeah.
Colorado, Ute. Yeah, Ute Indians.
Yeah, a little Cherokee.
Oh, Chiconky.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
I was in Colorado last September.
Where
at? Four Corners.
Oh yeah, over there in Durango. Yeah, I know where it's at.
Was it everything? Was it everything you thought it would be?
No.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It was still pretty cool, but it was it was lame, and it was way too expensive for what it was. But I mean, it's Navajo land, so they're just capitalizing on it. So no shade on them. They do what they got to do to survive. So I was happy to pay just because of that fact. So
not only that, it's kind of something you got to look at one time. I went there once. That was it.
Yeah, I'll probably never go there.
I'll never go back again. Yeah.
My son's like, he'll tell the story. He's like, I was in Colorado and I could hear Kendall all the way in New Mexico.
Man, I'd love to take a road trip with some guys, do like some critter watching or whatever. Just go to those states, man, because it's so freaking cool.
Well,
and you can camp. And my buddy, like out in Arizona, he said you don't even need like a license to go camping.
Oh,
you can just pull off the road.
Yeah.
Like, that is cool.
Yeah, and so like I really want to be a writer. So if I could like do that, if I could just write and podcast, like I don't like expect anybody to fucking like buy into like a Patreon or anything like that. Like if they want to listen to me talk, they can listen to me talk to people. I'm not expecting people to pay me for my podcast, but if I could get paid like writing like stories and books and this comic book and shit like that, and like if I get into the documentary aspect of things too, like just buy this fucking van that I can convert into like a camper or something like that, and just travel the world or just the states. I'd be pretty happy doing that. That sounds like a life worth living to me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Since you said Zook and I kind of have the same aspects on that. Like with us, it's just podcasting, and I know a thing that him and I both love to do is we like to do field research. Go out, like that's the thing I want to do is I know a lot of people who throw out TikToks or Instagram feeds or whatever, but I know a lot of people have problems with cryptids. They're just too afraid to say anything. And I was talking with old Nick Valente. He said if you can get it privatized instead of through like the federal government or whatever, you can have them pay whatever you want. But I would love to have because me and Zook already have like a team of guys we always go cryptid hunting with. So all those guys I brought to Fair's house, those are all the guys I always go cryptid hunting with. So
nice.
I know them. I know how they work. So I'd make like an organization out of it. Basically just cryptid hunting, like legit cryptid hunting.
I would love to do that too, man.
Hell yeah, Kevin. Come on, buddy. Get on here.
I'm digging it down, dog.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we need somebody to punch Squatch in the face. That'd be so freaking cool. Like, and let Squatch get a black eye. Oh, Kevin, man, he brought them brass knuckles in that fist of fury.
Get him the juice.
That's funny. I almost got in trouble for having brass knuckles one time.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah, this I was at this fucking food truck with two of my buddies. This kid comes up trying to get in my face. He's like, "Did you fucking knock my brother out?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Somebody beat the shit out of my brother in the fucking parking lot over here fucking last night,
And
and
he
you
goes
were walking
straight to
around
you.
with fucking brass knuckles." And I go, "Yeah." I was like, "I always have brass knuckles." He goes, "Oh yeah, why don't you have them now?" And I fucking pull them out of my pocket, and he's just like, he's like, "You, so you didn't fucking touch my brother?" I was like, "I don't even know who your fucking brother is. I don't even know who you are."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, if I find out it was you," and he had like 5 other friends. I go, "If you ever find out it was me, you're not gonna find out it was me. But if you want to play it safe," I was like, "We can go right now, bro." And he's just like, he's like, we'll be in touch or something like that. And he walks off. And then
I'll
I
call
was
you.
like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with people? You know what I mean? You don't even fucking know me from uh, fucking loogie on the ground. You know what I mean? Like the fuck. And then
You should.
my buddy TJ nudges me with his elbow and he goes, "They're lucky." And I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because I got this pen." And he pulls it out of his pocket. And I go,
It's a knife.
They're
okay.
gonna.
He
They're
goes,
gonna.
"In their fucking jugular." Like I'm fucking stab him. I was like,
You're
"Oh
gonna.
Jesus Christ."
You're gonna start. It's gonna start John Wicking them, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like what he was saying. I was just like, "Dude, that's dark shit." He's like, "Fuck." He's like, "Whatever I gotta do to survive."
He made me go there, bro.
It's an apocalyptic time.
Ride or die. That's what I'm talking about. Ride or die, man.
Yeah. He's a good friend.
Always
Shoot,
carry a
man, you could
pen.
probably bring him on the hunt too.
Yeah,
Or
just
just
give
on
him
a,
a
on a
just give him
dog
a
man.
buttload of pens.
Buttload of pens.
He's got a vest full of pens everywhere.
Fucking dog man comes out of these bushes with all these pens in him. He's like, "Oh," and he falls.
What
Dude,
I
that'd be
think you
such an
should have
epic
is
way to
all those
go as a dog man,
pens.
I think.
I think you should have all those pens laced with silver, like liquid silver in them.
There you go.
You know?
Dude, I was reading like that actually does work.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like, and from what yeah, and definitely
yeah.
from what Nick has said too.
Yeah, some of those guys who own those critter teams in the government, they lace their or they instead of like the bullet being steel or whatever, it's actually full silver. That's what they use
Wow.
supposedly.
No
I don't
shit.
know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That ties into all those movies and shit.
There's some truth to that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I looked into why like a while back, and it has to do with I think it was something in the tabernacle. So it does trace back to the Bible.
Yes, I know.
Oh
And
Check.
it
no
Go for
shit.
it. Go for it,
yeah,
Zip.
it's well, I forgot because man, I should have saved it. But it was like an article that I read, and it was I can't remember the exact details,
Okay,
but I
so
do know that it traced back to the Bible.
okay. So basically, like with the whole silver thing, right? The whole tabernacle. Something like that tabernacle was based off the silver, and they used it for like healing properties, right? And that's why, like a lot of like holistic people and stuff, whenever they have like anything external or anything like that or internal, they have like this liquid of silver. Like my wife, she's got it. So if I have any like rash or any cuts or whatever, I just put some silver on it. But the liquid's called silver. It's made out of silver, like the whole chemical makeup of it, but it's not the color of it. It's clear, but it has like the chemical stuff of it of silver, and that's why it's called silver. But a lot of that's a lot of healing properties and stuff. And then when it came to any demonic origins or anything like that with the tabernacle and stuff, silver correlates to pureness, and it's with demons they're actually like tainted and stuff like that. And so when it goes into these cryptids or anything like that, if you have like a silver based bullet, silver based knife or anything like that, the properties of it are so pure when it hits a certain cryptid, their whole chemical makeup's off. It's not created. It's not created by God, I guess, but it's created by the other side, entities, devils, fallen angels, whatever. So it totally cancels everything out inside their chemical makeup, and it's too much for them, and they die off that way. You know what I'm saying?
No shit.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that was pretty interesting.
that is interesting. That's
You're right.
Oh,
very,
and
very, very interesting.
very, and how you did talk about like a vampire. Man, there was this really cool It wasn't a podcast, but it was an episode from a guy who was like, after like I was open minded to, especially after like digging into cryptids and stuff. I'm like, you know what, werewolves are real, and I think vampires, they might be real too. But after watching this guy share his testimony, he actually was a vampire,
Yep.
and I
What?
mean, and
Oh,
it, I
I'm
can
gonna get
say
it.
I can send it
I'm
to
gonna
you.
send it to you. Yeah, because I
Like,
remember I sent it to you, Zook.
yeah, you sent it to me, and then I'm like, dude, we need to put this guy on our podcast. But like, he doesn't
He
do
can't.
podcasts anymore.
No, he don't. I try to track him down, and then Jessica talked to me about him. She tried to track him down for years. He don't do podcasts no more. He don't even do interviews no more.
I'm like, but it's crazy, man. This guy is so wise.
Well,
Like,
this guy basically
it
he was in like the Freemasons and the Illuminati at the same time. Right?
Jesus Christ.
Yes. And not only that,
yeah,
he
dude.
was a Jesuit too at the same time, but he leaned over to the Freemasons more. So basically, in not Satanology, but in Satanism, instead of instead of like the Freemasons, right? You have like your 33 levels, right? Well, in
Yeah.
Satanism, you only have 13 levels. Okay, so when you get, he said in his Satanism, he already got to the highest peak of Freemasonry and also in Illuminati and stuff. And then when he was in Satanism, he got to level 11. So when you get to like your level 11, they give you an option. Do you want to choose to be a vampire or do you want to choose to be a werewolf? So vampires they use to subduct and to entice people on getting into Satanism in like a sexual way, right? But also they drain their blood and they hypnotize them and stuff. Well, with the whole werewolves and dogman thing, they use those as bodyguards, right? So if you have like a Satanist ritual going on, you will have werewolves around somewhere because they're acting like bodyguards. And there has been cases of kids or people getting killed next to Satanist rituals.
Mm-hmm.
So they use them as bodyguards. Well, if you choose to go the werewolf route, of course, your body is going to contort and snap and everything. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be a hurtful process when you do that. So he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the Gucci route. I'm going to be a vampire. So with the whole vampire process in a nutshell is that they basically load you up with cocaine
Lots
and
and
all that
lots.
stuff. Yeah, a lot. And they form it in like a liquid. They like inject it in you. So they do it like so much, and you're in these sex rituals and stuff and all that, and black magic and drinking blood. They're having you drink a lot of blood too. That's mixed with cocaine. So whenever you start to smell blood or see a person after like, I think he said it was like a couple weeks, he was
Yeah,
doing that.
it wasn't very long.
It didn't take very long. You know how it is like when you like smell like basically like quesadillas as they're going by off the hot griddle, right? Like your mouth like foams and just, oh god, I want that. You know what I mean? It kind of just salivates, right? Well, when he would see a person walk by or he'd smell blood, his teeth and his mouth would salivate, but it would be like a cocaine, like salivate, almost like a poison. So whenever he'd bite somebody, it would put him in like that cocaine trance, like that nummingness. So whenever he's biting someone, that cocaine would numb it. You know how it is when you get cocaine, you put it in your tooth and your gums and it numbs it, right? That would be the same thing as he's biting somebody. That cocaine would be so in his system when he'd be biting someone, it'd come out in his saliva and it would numb the spot where he's biting somebody, and they wouldn't even know that he's biting them. And
It
sucking
also
their
give
blood.
them a personal, like a high as well.
Yeah, to give them a high as well too, like put him in like that cocaine trance too at the same time he's doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Fucking super interesting. Geez.
Yeah, I'll find it. And I'll send it to you.
Fucking
It's wild.
scary.
Yeah, I'd love to have like, I don't know.
Yeah, same.
Anyways, all right, bro. I know it's like super late where you're at.
Yeah, man, it's
It
pretty late.
is. It's all good. I took a nap.
That's
I took a nap first.
Man. Look.
But yeah, I'm gonna cut it off because I have to get up super early because I have to go do security tomorrow for the church. So yeah.
Yeah, dope, man.
Oh yeah.
But all right, bro. Hey, where can people find you at, big dog?
All right, so I am on Facebook, Instagram as Where the Weird Ones Are. Instagram is Where_the Weird Ones Are. I'm pretty mostly active on Instagram. Facebook, I forget a lot. And if people have stories or they want to talk about weird shit or conspiracies, I love conspiracies. They can email me too, or they can DM me on my Instagram, but my email's where the weird ones are at gmail.com. And the show is on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple, the fuck else, iHeartRadio, and then I have video aspect on YouTube and Rumble. So far, YouTube has kicked only one episode, so but Rumble has that episode, and then all the audio stuff has that episode too. So
Sweet.
I mean, she was only reciting articles she had read, so but YouTube didn't like it, so.
Oh, YouTube.
Oh, TubeU. Yeah, man, I'll definitely have Zuck plug that in the show notes, man, all your stuff. So, and where can people buy your merch at, bro?
Oh yeah, fuck! I always forget about that fucking part. So it's etsy.com/shop/where the weird ones are. I got quite a bit of different designs on there. If you guys follow Drew on if you follow Cryptid Warfare, you've seen at least my American design on him. So I basically I'm going to have other designs eventually, but yeah, it's at etsy.com/shop/where the weird ones are. It's basically my logo, and there's a couple cryptids, and there's a design of my dog. So, and there's sneakers.
Ooh.
Which was interesting. They kind of look like Chucks, but they're not Chucks, so they're kind of like a knockoff. Chucks. But I love Chucks, and I actually kind of want to get these shoes. But yeah, there'll be more designs coming eventually. I have to pay to the illustrator to get these designs. So if people would be so kind and at least buy one thing that and help me out, that'd be great. That's the best way to support my show, mainly because I don't have a Patreon and shit. So you get something out of it if you go to the Etsy. So
right on, guys, you heard it. Help a brother out. Go get a shirt or some Chucks.
Chucks and go cryptid hunting with them.
Right on. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's fucking cups too. Get cup.
There's cups.
Just get it off. Christmas isn't too far away.
That's right, guys. That's right. Okay, now how about Black Friday? You doing any Black Friday sales?
I should. I think I'm gonna have to. I might do like a special like fucking design just for Christmas.
That'd be cool.
We should too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we should do that too, Zuck. That's not a bad.
We should have Christmas. What do you call Black Friday sales every day. No, I'm kidding. November, guys. November.
I need one of your guys' shirts too.
Oh yeah, we'll send you one. Hey, what size you wear?
A large.
I got you. You
should never ask a man what size shirt he wears.
Why not? I never ask him what socks he wears. What size of socks? Anyways.
Those are some nice socks.
I gotta send you that photo there, Kevin. Anyways, all right, guys. That's all I got, man.
Perfect.
All right, boys. Kevin, appreciate you coming on, brother. It's always a pleasure, man. We got to do this again.
Yes, thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate you sharing some of your life with me.
so much. There's one big thing I'm taking away, and it's this. Dude, I'm gonna think about that tonight, man. I'm going to a dark room.
I swear, I'm just hearing that.
I'm just thinking of I don't know. Oh yeah, for those of you just listening to audio, I was reenacting that little jittery shadow figure. But I can just imagine the sound. If it did have a tongue, it would sound like it's going towards you.
Let's play Tommy Tickles.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up. You guys heard it. You guys go find Kevin on Where the Weird Ones Are At on Facebook and Instagram, and go buy a shirt. Help a brother out. Yeah, and like I said, if you guys have an encounter or story, just shoot us an email. It's cryptidwarfare@gmail.com. It's cryptidwarfare@gmail.com. And or if not, just DM me on Facebook or Instagram. And Zook, why don't you tell them about our website?
Yeah, on Cryptid Warfare, we have other ways to reach out to us, and there is a link to our Etsy shop. There's a lot more on there. And then once you become a member on there as well, there are different tiers, and you can get commercial-free listening. So it's a lot of fun, and you can actually see the raw videos that we do. So there's a lot of outtakes. It takes time to edit these videos, and
That's right.
yeah, when you get to watch the raw stuff, you see a lot of behind the scenes and all that fun jazz.
All right, boys. Well, we're out. Just remember, guys, we're not just wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities and rulers of this age. So, hope you guys have a good week. Be blessed, stay safe, and keep your heads up. Question
Peace.
everything. Later.
Yes.